everyone, this is Mase for the Watch Game. This is our first ever State of the Collection video. This is my collection right now. It is pretty eclectic, so it ranges from digital watches, G-Shocks, all the way up to vintage chronographs, and everything kind of in between. So I'm going to take you through it through several categories. So the first category that I'm going to take you through is right up front here. This is what I'm going to call the digital and anti-digi collection. So this is the Casio Royale. This is a pretty famous watch in the community. One, because it looks really cool. It's got this sort of roulette wheel here, and it's very cheap. So it's only $35. It has world time capabilities. We did a video on this maybe a year, 15 months ago, and it's one of our better performing videos on the channel. So that's our first watch. All right, our second watch is this G-Shock. So this is the G-Lide, and what's cool about this watch is it tracks the tides. So it is tricky to do, but I was able to figure it out by kind of tricking the system. So you can see it has this cool backlit system. It's super comfortable. This strap is very pliable. There's a million different spots here that you can adjust for your wrist. Really cool. I did a short on this that has recently started to get a lot more attention. I love this color too. It's kind of this steel gray that's becoming very popular out there. And of course, this is the Arnie, the SNJ025. We did a video on this about being a very badass watch. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger wore this in multiple movies. Commando, Predator, Raw Deal, I believe, right? Super cool. This is anti-digi. Been in a ton of movies. This next category features watches that I regret buying. Both of them I bought for the channel. Basically, this was a Kickstarter watch. This is a watch from a brand called Tactico. A nice looking watch, really nice Jubilee bracelet here. It goes to 1,000 meters of water resistance. There's a date window here. It's just sort of, it's just sort of a watch I have, right? I'm probably into it for about $700. I will probably look to sell this, but I know that it's going to be a deep, deep discount. So I do regret that. I don't wear it at all. And this is the Yema Urban Flygraph. So I really like this yellow color. Yema was selling this at a deep discount, I think around $500. And actually this bracelet, this sort of slotted beads of rice bracelet, it's really pretty comfortable. It just doesn't get any wrist time. So even though I got this at a deep discount, I have serious doubts that I'd be able to sell this on for anything close to the $500 that I spent on it. Okay guys, this next category is Microbrands that I don't regret buying. And so first up, I'm going to take a look at this Fair. Now this Fair is 39 millimeters. It's a world time. I have not really connected with this watch. Now this is a bracelet that I ordered extra. It comes with a leather strap. It recommends a green one to match the dial. I just didn't like that at all, so I went a little bit over the top and bought this one. I find that the cities in the outer rim very difficult to read. I think the white or the light green against the dark green just really hard to read. You let me know what you think. So I really just haven't connected with it And the reason why I don't regret this is I think that Fairer for a microbrand holds a fair amount of value. So, and oftentimes they'll kind of batch manufacture watches. So a model may go out, they might run out of stock on a particular model, and you might be able to sell this on Chrono 24 for within the neighborhood of what you paid for it. If I'm not able to connect with it in the next 6 months or so, I probably will look to sell it. That's the Fairer World Time. This color scheme is called the Fox, F-O-X-E. So the next watch is the Aquastar Deep Star limited edition with Fratello. I'm trying to get the right angle here on this dial because this dial is absolutely gorgeous. Kind of an ice blue, really handsome, and it has this one-eye panda setup. The seconds dial in white on the 9 o'clock side. It also has the beads of rice. This is a limited edition of 50. So I think part of my reluctance to wear this watch is damaging a watch that's really only one of 50. So the case diameter is 36.5 millimeters, pretty small for my wrist. While I don't wear this very often, the reason I don't regret this is I believe that I will be able to get more than what I paid for the watch. I think that I probably will be able to get 35% more than what I paid for it. All right, the next watch up is the Notice Raven collaboration called the Trail Trekker. So one thing that I love about this watch is it has this micro adjustment here. It is really super easy to use. I really like this color, this graphite color. That's due to a protective coating that they've put on this, and it does have a different feel to it, but it just takes a beating. It almost feels indestructible, and you'll notice the proportions of this watch are very much like the 5-digit Rolex Explorer 2, and it feels like it. It's 39.5 millimeters across. The dial seems pretty small as a result of the bezel being here. But man, I really love the way this wears. It just kind of disappears on the wrist. You can see close to the wrist. I think it's about 10 millimeters thick. It just wears very nicely. All right, next up is the Zero West Spitfire P4 9437, I believe. Zero West, their deal is they like to go out and find historical relics, mostly from significant events in British history. So this one comes from a World War II dogfight, and this comes from a British Spitfire. And they found the machine. They were able to melt down the engine, and they cut discs out of it, and then they used them in the watches. So this actually came from a downed Spitfire. Being a history geek, just love this watch. It's hefty, don't get me wrong. It is 44 millimeters across. You can see it's pretty beefy here. And look at the thickness of this leather strap here. They do all of their leather straps themselves because they couldn't find anything that would suit this watch. So, another watch from a micro brand that I do not regret buying. And first up, we have the Omega Seamaster 300M. You have seen a video or many videos on this watch from many YouTubers as well as me. I've had this for about 3 years. It's not getting a ton of wrist time, so I have been considering whether or not it's time to let this one go and make room for a different watch. And I would say that's probably a 50-50 proposition. So this might end up on eBay or Chrono 24, but it is a gorgeous watch. This is the latest iteration, the white dial, laser etched, good to 300 meters, water resistance, and of course, I would be remiss I didn't mention the helium escape valve. All right, let's move on to the next icon. So this is, let's call it a neo vintage Datejust. This is a two-tone Datejust, 35 millimeters across, so pretty small, but there is a great level of comfort with this watch due to the worn in or the heavily used or the broken in Jubilee bracelet. I mean, just super comfortable there. And this was a gift from my father-in-law, or my soon-to-be father-in-law, some, let's call it 17 years ago, when I proposed to his daughter. This was his, well-loved, well-worn, just a very comfortable watch on the wrist. And I love this two-tone. Now, some of you might disagree with me calling this an icon, but if you know one Soviet watch, it's probably this one. That's right, the Big Zero. This is a watch that I received as a gift, claiming to be from the late Soviet era, the late 80s, but you know, and I have no reason to doubt its authenticity, but you know, it's just one of those things that you hear so much about Franken Soviet watches and things like that, you know, there might always be kind of a question mark out there. So there's the Raketa Big Zero. All right, this next category is really just a one watch category, and that's because it is really the only thing that looks like it in my entire collection. So this was something that I picked up at an auction, Finarte, an Italian auction house, and this is a Vulcan dress watch, right? So very small, 34 millimeters across, has a really nice white linen dial there with a little bit of patina, and as you can imagine, I really don't wear this at all. All right, so I would say the next couple of categories are really where my collection is going. I would say I love funky watches, and I love vintage watches, and I especially love vintage chronos. So you'll kind of see a bit of that as I work through this next couple of categories. So this one here is from 2001. So it's a stretch to call it neo vintage, but when I saw this, and look at this super cool mesh bracelet, but here's a quartz watch from Citizen called the Transcontinence, and you can see another beautiful ice blue dial. You can see kind of the circle in the middle of the dial representing the globe, and then you can see kind of the latitude and longitude kind of across that. And the big feature is at the tip of the seconds hand, and I know it's difficult to see in the light here, but there's a plane moving tick by tick by tick around the dial. Super cool quartz watch, but just kind of fun and funky, and super reasonable. I think it was less than 150 bucks. Here's another funky watch. So bullhead watch. So the buttons are up here. Chronograph. Looks like cat's eyes. They're calling this a brown dial. And this is a Seiko Aka Alba. So very cool watch. Chrono functionality. You can see this one. It's a 2-second chrono. So if you're paying attention, you can kind of match this up with the second hand over here, and then you can stop it, and then you can see it kind of reset. It kind of goes all the way around to reset. I mean, just a super cool looking watch. It's contoured to your wrist, so it's thicker in the back. And then look at this cool bracelet. I mean, I could see getting more stuff like this. Seiko had such originality in some of these dials, and I mean, just look at how handsome that dial is and the sub dials. Just a great little watch here. Also, I think this was about $100. So this is from 1997. There's just some really cool stuff if you know where to look. All right, this next category, Chronos. Now, the last one we just looked at was a Chrono, the Seiko Aka Alba. Some others have some timing functionality, you know, especially here in the digital space, right? But this one in particular kind of started it all for me, as an adult anyway. You know, I had a G-Shock as a kid, but this is a watch that was bought for me by my brother. I did a video on this watch. It has the sub dials at 6, 9, and 12, date window, and I absolutely love this bracelet. Like late 90s, early 2000s, but I just, you know, gives it a little bit of motion here, a little bit of action. I use this as kind of my everyday watch going to the office. I wore this to weddings and events like it. So this is the one that kind of started it all. Got this in 2006. Now here's another special watch for me. This is the Breitling for Bentley, and another chronograph. It's got the 6, 9, and 12 day and date here. And if you were to look on Chrono24 for something like this, I at least have not been able to find this exact combination of factors. So you've got the white outer ring here, and then you have the sub dials outlined in what looks like stainless steel, right? You obviously have the Bentley-esque bezel, right? This represents what looks like the grille of Bentleys from around the 2010 period. This watch I bought in 2012 when Breitling and big watches were still like a really big deal. This and the Navitime were very sought after, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this up close, but there is a diamond pattern as you kind of reflect this. I think you just got it there. You might be able to see it as I kind of come across, but man, I use this for everything. It's shiny, right? The bezel, I mean, is just absolutely fantastic. And I mean, look at this meaty bracelet. And this bracelet, I mean, what a great bracelet. It is heavy, heavy, heavy. And most of the time, mostly due to fear of kind of scratching up the clasp here, but most of the time I'm wearing this on a leather strap, but I wanted to show you kind of the original. And you can see another one where the bracelet looks like there's motion here, right? It's kind of at a diagonal. It seems like there's some movement, some action here. And I wore it so much at that period of time. And then, like many things, you know, you either stop wearing watches or, you know, another watch claims your wrist. And recently, I would say over the last year, that I have been wearing this so much. Really fell in love with this watch all over again, and I love it. The last category, and this is really where my favorite pieces are, because this is an aesthetic that I just absolutely love, and that's kind of late 60s, early 70s chronographs. All right, the first one up in this category is the first one that I purchased, and this is a Seiko Speed Timer 6139-7012. It was sold to me as the Bruce Lee, but I think that one might be the 7010. But very affordable. I think I paid around $500 for this. Working chronograph, start, stop, reset. Super cool. You know, it's got the kanji wheel here. So it's very cool. And this is an Uncle Seiko's bracelet, so I bought that aftermarket, but very cool watch here. And you can find watches like this really quite a bit. There are more expensive ones. The yellow one, you know, is the Pogue. You all know this one. This is the Omega Flightmaster, so reference 145026. There's a story behind this one. I bought this one at an auction, and unfortunately it was broken. And so while I thought I got a deal financially, the repairs cost over $2,000, and there's no way I'll be able to recoup anything close to what I paid for this watch in totality. But here we have it. It's a super cool watch. Start the chrono here. Start it. It kind of snaps a little bit further than 0, so it needs to be tightened up again. Original bracelet here. Very cool piece. Very funky. I mean, you know the Flightmaster with this bullet case here. They only made it for 8 years. As you can see, I've got an appetite for these funky watches, and this one is no slouch there. All right, so the next one up, and this one I absolutely love. So this is the Heuer Carrera, the 1153. It is absolutely beautiful, from the early 70s. I'll get in there. I mean, just look at that orange. Look at those subdials, just so awesome. And it's in such great condition. Look at this beads of rice. It's a Gay Frere original bracelet. It is so beautiful, and I love it. Start up the chronograph here. All right, there we go. Starting to sweep around. Start, stop, reset, and this one goes right to 0, unlike the Flightmaster. But man, what a beautiful piece here. Absolutely love this one. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So love that one. And the last piece that I want to share with you, something that I got in January. So this is a Breitling Datura from the 1970s. But I want to show you just how clean this case is. It's almost like it was never worn, and in fact, the individual that I bought it from said he only wore it around the house a couple of times, never left the house, and he sent me the original box, which is a tiny little box, maybe about this size, you know, maybe 6 inches long, maybe 7 inches long. Just absolutely cool, and what a beautiful piece. I mean, look at the color popping right off that dial. Look at the patina, lume plots. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. I think this is such a cool watch. And it's a beautiful strap. I mean, I asked him where he got this, and this logo here is from a gentleman who goes by Tor, T-O-R-R-E, or Tori. Evidently, you can only kind of order through his Instagram page, but it is an awesome strap. So guys, that is the last piece in my collection to go through with you. What do you think? So this is Mase again for the watch game. This is the state of my collection. Mine has a particular personality. These vintage chronos that I absolutely love here. You know, they're just kind of a passion of mine. Let me know what you think about my collection. I can take the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm happy to answer any questions about these watches or where my future collecting might go. But if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we will catch you in the next one. Thanks and take care. Bye-bye.